What's going on, family? I'm Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuff series. Let's discuss a fight that took place on September 23rd, 1952, at the Municipal Stadium in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The bout was scheduled for 15 rounds, and the referee was Charlie Doggett. Now, what was special about this evening? One of the judges, Zach Clayton, would judge this contest. It would be somewhat of the passing of a torch. But Zach Clayton was an icon, if you will. He was the first black referee to referee a bout between two black heavyweights, Ezra Charles and Jersey Joe Walcott. Both these men, at one point in time, would become heavyweight champions. Ezra Charles would be the third black heavyweight champion, and Jersey Joe Walcott would be the fourth. And Jersey Joe Walcott and Joe Louis would share a very special bond. They were both trained by the first black heavyweight championship trainer, and that would be Chappie, Jack Blackburn. Jack Blackburn knew of one, but he didn't know of two. He was in the corner of Joe Louis in 1937 at Comiskey Park in Chicago, Illinois, when Joe Louis would knock out Jim Broderick in 8 rounds to become the second black heavyweight champion in boxing history. Well, Jack Blackburn would train Jersey Joe Walcott before he trained Joe Louis. And Joe Walcott couldn't make it to Chicago, where Jack Blackburn had to go to meet up with Joe Louis, because Walcott had a family. He also had a daytime job as a sanitation worker. But Joe Walcott didn't give up. He kept on pursuing his dream of one day perhaps becoming a heavyweight champion of the world. And when Jack Blackburn died in 1942 in Chicago, he left knowing of one heavyweight champion. He didn't leave knowing of two, and he would be responsible for both men's careers. So shout out to Jack Blackburn. Now, you had 40,379 spectators in the audience of the September 23rd, 1952 bout. But let's learn about Jersey Joe Walcott. His name was Arnold Raymond Cream. He was born January 31st, 1914 in Merchantville, New Jersey. He would weigh between 175 pounds and 195 pounds. He stood 6 foot. And he was in a ring with a father and son duel, Phil Johnson and Harold Johnson. He would knock out both men in 3 rounds, both between the eyes. He knocked them out the exact same way. Now, although Phil Johnson did complain after the bout that he had an injured back, but that was monumental of Jersey Joe Walcott. He'd also be in a ring with Elmer Violet Ray. Elmer Violet Ray was in the ring with Obie Walker, who was a colored heavyweight champion 14 times. And that's how Jersey Joe Walcott would get his fight in 1947 with the Brown Bomber Joe Louis, is when he defeated Elmer Violet Ray. Now, Tiger Jack Fox and Lee Q Murray, Curtis the Hatchet Man Shepard and Abe Simon, Tommy Gomez, Joe Louis, Rex Lane, and Harold Johnson, Jimmy Bivens and Joey Maxim would be the iconic opponents on the resume of Jersey Joe Walcott. You see, Joe Walcott became the World Heavyweight Champion July 18, 1951 at Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, when he would knock out the Cincinnati Cobra undisputed heavyweight champion, Ezra Charles. He stopped him in 7 rounds. And that would make Jersey Joe Walcott the oldest heavyweight champion in boxing history. At that time, 37 years old. Jersey Joe Walcott would be attempting his second world title defense. It would be for the NBA and the NYSAC World Heavyweight Championship title. It would be against Rocky Marciano, the Brockton Blockbuster. Rocky Marciano was born September 1st, 1923 in Brockton, Massachusetts. He weighed between 178 to 192 pounds. He would die, unfortunately, in a plane crash incident. Now, Rocky Marciano fought from March 17, 1947 to April 27, 1956. When he retired in 1956, he would appoint both Archie Moore and Floyd Patterson to fight for his vacant crown. Now, Rocky Marciano had 11 bouts in 1948, 13 bouts in 1949, 6 bouts in 1950, and 7 bouts in 1951, 5 bouts in 1952. He beat in a ring with Tiger Ted Laurie and Rex Lane, Freddie Bischoff, and Keen Simmons, Lisa Boyd, Harry Kit Matthews, Don Carkel. October 26, 1951. He would knock out the Brown Bomber Joe Louis in 8 rounds in New York's Madison Square Garden. And what was upsetting about that performance is that Rocky Marciano was a boyhood idol. Joe Louis was his boyhood idol. And he actually cried in the locker room. Lou Duva was the water boy, and he tells that story. And Joe Louis told Rocky Marciano, hold your head up. This is the way it goes. Now you go out there when you get a title shot opportunity and you bring that title home and you wear it proudly because you took it from the man, although it wasn't a physical belt, but it was legacy. I'll be rooting for you. You hold that title with honor and dignity. So Rocky Marciano would be in the ring with Roland Estrada 2 separate occasions. One of the bouts took place in New York's Yankee Stadium. 1954, he found himself in the ring with Ezzard Charles 2 separate occasions. One of the bouts went the distance, and one was a knockout. Rocky Marciano would suffer the worst for wear in that bout. He would have a cut nose. Jersey Joe Walcott was 38 years old, weighed 196 pounds. He had a record of 51 wins, 16 losses, and 2 draws in a bout with Rocky Marciano. He would earn $137,000 plus $50,000 for movie rights, totaling $188,000 plus. He was 38 years of age. Rocky Marciano was 22 years old. He weighed 185 pounds and walked into the ring with a record of 42 wins, no losses, and no draws. He would earn $69,000 plus, totaling $94,000 plus, with $25,000 in TV rights. Now, both Jersey Joe Walcott and Rocky Marciano would have common opponents, Rex Lane and Joe Louis. Rocky Marciano was the Brockton blockbuster, and he was a ball of dynamite. My opinion, Rocky Marciano is in the top 5 greatest heavyweight champions in boxing history. Rocky Marciano would break your arms and shoulders. He would give you blood clots where you couldn't lift your arms. He didn't stop punching. Someone like Henry Armstrong. With Armstrong, he would place his head in your chest and walk you down all over the ring. He wouldn't stop punching. He would punch you in the arms and punch you in the chest. He would watch your feet and move you all around that ring. And when you stopped, he would parry, shoulder roll, and counter with left hooks and right hands, body and head. As for Rocky Marciano, he would constantly press you around the ring. He didn't walk you down, he followed you, but he stayed as close as he could. He could take a punch. He would wear you down, and once you got on the ropes, he would work the arms and the shoulders. Smoking Joe Frazier walked you down the ring, all over. body and head. But his vicious punch was the left hook. That's what got you out of there. All these men that I mentioned were phenomenal fighters. As a heavyweight, Rocky Marciano was phenomenal. I'm Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. All great fights, all great fighters will never be forgotten on my channel. The 13th round was one of the most devastating right hands ever thrown at an opponent, as that right hand would catch Jersey Joe Walcott as he was attempting to throw his own right hand. I've always said a fighter has to be aware at all times in that ring, whether he's hurt, whether he's tired. Once you find yourself getting towards the ropes, your back leg will tell you when you touch it. Once you touch the ropes, brace yourself. Immediately you must come with the left hook. Your opponent is going to come, and when he does, you can meet him with the left hook on the chin. It was the shortest punch thrown, and you would knock him out clean because he does not expect it. That might have happened or may not have happened in the Rocky Marciano and Jersey Joe Walcott bout. But Jersey Joe Walcott made an error. The attempt was not there. The right hand was thrown and not the left hook. And I believe that's what would have defended his title over Rocky Marciano. Rocky Marciano, if fighting today, would pressure his man all over the place. He was one of a kind. He would relinquish his title in 1956, and he would appoint Archie Moore, who he faced in 1955, knocking him out in 9 rounds. Archie Moore was a light heavyweight champion. He would have his title stripped in 1961 and 1962. But he would continue. But at that point, he was still the current light heavyweight champion. Rocky Marciano would appoint the 1952 middleweight gold medal winner in Helsinki Games, and his name was Floyd Patterson. And Patterson and Archie Moore would fight for Rocky Marciano's vacant heavyweight championship strap. Thanks for listening. Peace.